Hi everyone, hope you're doing well from wherever you're watching this channel, depending on the time zone. Now, Isaac Mwaura is the government spokesperson. And when we had protests in this country, he went further to request for an interview on Citizen TV on Explainer. That request was granted. But shockingly, Isaac Mwaura did not turn up for that interview. Then the question has been, why did he not turn up for the interview? What happened? What changed? Or what informed him to change his mind from something that he personally requested for?
And on this second day of July here on The Explainer, we had every intention of hosting the government spokesperson, that's Mr. Isaac Mwaura. This interview was at his request, which came late this afternoon, early evening. We granted his request for an interview on The Explainer tonight. The person chooses not to be here to speak to the situation in the country. The Explainer must go on.
Now, definitely, many are aware that Isaac Mwaura was going to talk about the ongoing protest. That is the agenda, nothing else. That is something he was supposed to address. And anyway, when he speaks, we take it as the position from State House. That is the government position when he speaks, because that is the man who speaks on behalf of the government. So it was all about protest, but he did not. And to understand really some of the reasons why Mwaura avoided this interview, we must go back to his last clip. He recorded himself somewhere in State House, and in his view, he believed that the protest that we had in this country, that was earlier, the first one, it had an outside hand to it. Then we have outsiders who are behind the protest. That was the allegation from Isaac Mwaura. That someone is not happy with William Ruto's global progress on in terms of climate change and all those other things that he's trying to push for. So there is a foreign hand supporting the protest. That was his position. Some of the reasons that he gave, that we have debts, and this debt we pay so heavily, more than these other developed countries are paying. And Ruto, by increasing taxes, he wants us to get out of that debt issue. Then we can be able to reduce on borrowing, and in that way we can develop the country on our own money, because we raise our own resources. So the international community also is not happy because they will lose one of their customers. That was Isaac Mwaura.
Majenzi, tafadhali mnisikize, kwa sababu kuna vile nimesikiza hii kelele nikasikiza, na kuna watu wako genuine na ndio wengi ambao wanauliza maswali genuine. Lakini kuna ka group kako mahali ambao nikiangalia kwa umbali, could be even there is a foreign hand into this whole issue. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu president wetu ameongea very clearly mambo mengi sana international. Amesema lazima tuhakikishe kwamba tunakonda climate change. Juzi nimekuwa nikiwabrief hapa mambo ya El Nino. Ingine ikaingia mambo ya mvua. Hiyo ni kwa sababu ya climate change. Tunakufa hapa, watu hata waweze kaenda mashule. That is something we need to have a conversation on at the global level. Sasa yeye amerally the whole of Africa, imekuja pamoja, watu wengine pengine wafurahi. Juzi amesema mambo ya Russian invasion. Akasema inatusumbua, hata tuweze kupata hata ngangano ile tunapata kutoka Russia huko, kwa sababu produce ya kutosha hapa Kenya. Imedisrupt hiyo. Pia kuna watu wako na ngori na hiyo. Ukiangalia kama ni story na this issue of kusema kwamba de-dollarization, kwa sababu dola ikiwa ndio iko na nguvu inachukua nguvu zote za uchumi. Akasema tutafute infrastructure mpya ya financing internationally. Well, those guys who are abroad and who are here locally financial, you understand, the financial architecture is such that if you get a loan from Africa or developing countries, you pay even 8 times more than somebody from a developing country, and that makes it extremely difficult for people to actually, pay those loans. That's why we are in the debt trap. Tunachukua 48%, tuita hata 50% ya ile tumecollect, alafu inaenda kulipa hawa wasi. So hawezi wakataka tutoke kwa hiyo utumwa. Tuchunge sana watu wetu.
Now, as we continue with the panel discussion, just a quick request for those who are watching and you have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing. To our returning subscribers, I must say thank you so much. And again, to all our viewers, please give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much, and back to this discussion. Now, having listened to Isaac Mwaura's remarks earlier, then you look at what the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Foreign Affairs CS Musalia Mudavadi shared. Then you can connect the dots. Because Mudavadi wrote to diplomatic mission in Nairobi, arguing cooperation on regional security amid escalating tension. He has assured the commitment to dialogue and stability. Now he's writing of the international community. You listen to Isaac Mwaura position, he's blaming the international community, foreign. That foreigners, outsiders, are not happy. Who are these outsiders that he was trying to talk about? So, with his first remarks, then coming to address himself on the protest, we will treat all those remarks or position as government position. So because of that, there can be a possibility that Ruto stopped him from addressing the nation. Or the government that he speak for, those guys from State House, stopped him from coming to this interview because they believe that he might even make the situation worse due to what he had shared earlier. That instead of trying to, convince people that all is well, it is all about a blame that keeps on exposing William Ruto. Sasa ukisema mambo ya borrowing, we pay 8 times. Now Joe Biden is listening. Mtu mwenye amekuwa na Ruto hapa. Na hao ndio wana control IMF and all those. So tell me, what are you telling them? What message are you sending to them? There might be truth that we pay expensively. That is true. More than this other developed countries are paying. But then, Ruto does not want to destroy his friendship, his relationship with such individuals. But when the government spokesperson speak, then that is the government speaking. So because of contradictions, you stop Mwaura to avoid contradicting and sending other signals to the international community. Because now, Mwaura will be put to task to respond to this question, to mention this international community that he's talking about, or foreigners. I'm sure that question was on table. To come clear on the foreigners that he was alleging they are in control of the protest. But that statement, you see, this is a government that's running away from being responsible and shifting a blame to foreigners when they mess in their own country and the youth comes out to reject and express their anger. So there was a kind of a feeling that Mwaura anaweza mwaga mtama. He might do injustice to government than trying to heal or protecting the same government. So because of that, Mwaura might have been stopped. What was it that I said, Mchezo? The other time uliona Linus Kaikai, he asked William Ruto hard questions that left Ruto embarrassed and exposed. So due to failed first interview that Ruto asked for with this the media houses, he failed. The first 30 minutes he was fumbling. So due to that, then you bring in Mwaura, who is so much controversial. There was fear that the government will be left more exposed than they are today. So you stop Mwaura. There can be such kind of a possibility. Mwaura also understand that they have nothing to say. If indeed they had something to say, there's no way you can avoid an interview. But because largely they seems to be having nothing to say, rather than just being defensive, so you avoid this kind of an interview, because then it leaves you more exposed and so much damage than you think that you would use an interview to do a damage control. For them, it was going to expose them more. Because of that, then Mwaura took a U-turn to avoid the interview. So this government is so much confused. And with that confusion, at times now, you avoid. When you are caught pants down, sometimes you avoid speaking, because when you speak, you expose. When you speak, you cause more harm to yourself. So you keep quiet at some point. Unyamaza, saa zingine ni vizuri kunyamaza. So waliona ni vizuri Mwaura asiende kule, sababu akienda, yale maswali atauliza, it is going to expose State House. So because of such issues, Mwaura had to avoid that interview by every means. Sasa hapo ndo tumefika, serikali ambayo imechanganyikiwa, kumekuwa na uhalifu, magari ikachomwa. So there were so many questions to ask. I've seen some individuals robbing people in their own cars while the police are watching in silence. So who engineered this? Was it part of the government script or what was happening? I don't know your views, but let us put in the comment section to continue with this discussion. Thank you so much, and see you in our next video.